Most people believe they are choosing their own life, but a hidden script written before they could read may be choosing it for them. The way someone argues with a partner, spends a paycheck, or freezes when love gets close often traces back to a single childhood home. Long before memory begins, the brain quietly records how safety, attention, and love are supposed to work. Years later, those recordings still play in the background, steering choices that feel completely free. The strange part is that these patterns hide in plain sight, disguised as personality. Stay until the end, because there is one moment when people finally see the script for what it is. So how can something a person cannot remember still control how they love today? The answer begins with a British psychiatrist named John Bowlby. After watching children separated from their parents during difficult times, Bowlby noticed that the separation left a mark that shaped how they trusted and reached for others long afterward. From this, he proposed attachment theory. Babies form a deep emotional bond with their caregivers, and that bond becomes a blueprint for closeness. A baby cannot feed, protect, or soothe itself, so its survival depends on staying connected to a bigger, stronger person. Out of that need, the brain keeps score, learning whether crying brings comfort or silence, whether a reaching hand is met or ignored. Bowlby said the brain builds an internal working model, a private map of what to expect from people who are supposed to love you. A researcher named Bowlby Ainsworth later tested this with a famous experiment called the strange situation. She set a toddler and a parent in a small room full of toys, then had the parent leave for a few minutes before returning. Some children were upset when the parent left but settled quickly once they came back, and Ainsworth called this secure. Others avoided the parent, acting cool and indifferent. Others clung and could not calm down, torn between needing and resenting. Each style was a different answer to the same buried question: can I count on the people I love? Those early styles do not simply vanish. The way a child learned to seek comfort often echoes in how that same person, decades later, reaches for a partner, or pulls away from one. The adult who needs constant reassurance and the adult who keeps everyone at arm's length are often just grown-up versions of those toddlers. But attachment is only the first layer. Something even deeper gets passed down, and most families never notice it. What if the biggest things inherited from a family were never spoken out loud? Psychologists study what they call intergenerational patterns, the habits, fears, and emotional rules that travel from parents to children without anyone deciding to teach them. A child does not need a lecture to learn that anger means danger, or that money causes fights, or that affection must be earned. They learn from the silence at the dinner table, the slammed door, the parent who goes quiet for days. None of it gets explained. It only gets felt, until it feels like the way the world simply is. People often raise children using the exact tools their own parents used, even tools they swore they would never use. A parent who was shamed tends to shame. A parent who was soothed tends to soothe. The pattern moves quietly, like a hand-me-down nobody asked for, while everyone insists they are starting fresh. This is why someone can promise, with total honesty, that they will be nothing like their mother or father, then watch their own words come out in that same old voice. The promise was real. The pattern was just older and stronger. That raises an uncomfortable question. If these scripts are this powerful, why do people keep choosing situations that hurt them the same way? Why would anyone, again and again, walk straight back into the same kind of pain? Sigmund Freud noticed this strange habit and gave it a name: repetition compulsion. He observed that people often recreate painful situations from their past, as if some part of them is trying to solve an old problem by living it again, hoping that this time the ending will be different. It is not a conscious plan. The pull works underneath awareness, drawing a person back toward the same conflict and the same old role. A child who felt ignored may, as an adult, keep choosing distant partners, chasing the warmth that never came. A person raised in chaos may feel oddly bored by calm and drawn toward storms, because steady kindness feels almost suspicious. The mind reaches for the familiar, even when it hurts, because familiar feels like home, and home, however painful, is the one place the nervous system knows by heart. And here is the trap. Because the situation feels familiar, it feels like fate. People rarely think, I am repeating something. They think, this is just my luck, or, this is just who I am. The repetition wears a disguise. A psychologist named Jeffrey Young looked at these stubborn, repeating patterns and asked a sharper question. Where do they live inside the mind, and can they ever be reached? Is it possible to actually find the hidden rule and rewrite it? Jeffrey Young developed something called schema therapy. A schema is a deep belief about yourself and the world, formed early, often from unmet childhood needs. When a basic need for safety, attention, or acceptance goes unmet for long enough, the child stops expecting it and treats the lack as normal, and that expectation hardens into a schema. Young described patterns with names like abandonment, mistrust, defectiveness, and emotional deprivation. Someone with an abandonment schema may panic when a friend takes hours to reply, certain that being left is only a matter of time. Someone with a defectiveness schema may feel like a fraud no matter how much they achieve. These beliefs feel like simple truth, not like opinions learned long ago. Worse, people often act in ways that make the schema come true, pushing others away to confirm everyone leaves. Schema therapy works by helping a person notice the schema in action, question it, and slowly build healthier responses on top of the old wiring. The goal is not to argue the belief away with logic, since logic rarely reaches a wound that formed before words. Instead, the work is to meet the unmet need in the present, until the body slowly learns the old rule is no longer true. The old wiring does not disappear, but it loses its grip. The breakthrough is not erasing the past, which cannot be erased. It is catching the pattern in the exact second it tries to take the wheel, and choosing, even once, to steer somewhere new. Which brings everything to the single moment this video promised, the moment the script becomes visible. For most people, that moment arrives by accident, in the middle of an ordinary day, when a person hears their own voice snap at someone they love, and recognizes the exact tone of the parent they swore never to become. Or it comes while staring at a bank account, or a familiar argument, or another relationship ending the same strange way as the last. In that flash, the disguise drops. The choices that felt so personal, so free, suddenly look like steps in a dance choreographed years ago, in a house they barely remember. That recognition is uncomfortable, and it is also the most powerful thing that can happen. A pattern that stays invisible runs the whole life. A pattern that gets seen can finally be questioned. Attachment, the unspoken family rules, the pull of repetition, the deep schemas underneath, none of them are destiny. They are simply parts of the story written before the person could hold the pen. And the moment someone realizes they have been repeating a life that was never fully theirs, a quiet question appears that changes everything that follows. If the script was handed down, then who, starting today, decides how it ends?